Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. National Financial Literacy Month is celebrated in April, which is a great opportunity for us to check and promote our financial situation and skills. Joining me for this segment, we have Matt Markevich, Managing Director with Tuttle Capital Management, to break down the differences between SPACs and DeSPACs. Matt, it's great to see you again. Welcome back to Trade Talks.
Thanks for having me.
All right, we knew SPACs really were a big part of companies coming public in 2021. Explain to us what the difference is between a SPAC and what's called a DeSPAC.
Sure. So a SPAC is what is known as a blank check company that raises money for the express intent purpose to go out and find a company to acquire. And a DeSPAC is the resulting company that comes out of the merger of a SPAC. So it is what the entity that exists after that deal is complete.
And I think that's an important distinction to make because I feel like sometimes media gets it wrong. Oftentimes when they're talking about how a company became public via a SPAC, when in fact, if I understand it correctly, it's the DeSPAC that is part of the company becoming public on its own.
Yeah, I totally agree. You know, the media has often sort of, I would say, misframed companies as a SPAC. So take DraftKings or Virgin Galactic, for instance. Those are DeSPACs. They are fully operating companies, listed with their own ticker. There's no cash and trust like there is on a SPAC, just like Twitter, just like Nasdaq, just like John Deere. They're the same thing as those companies. They are no longer a SPAC once that merger with a SPAC is complete.
And Matt, tell us about the current state of the DeSPAC market. We know public companies, it's been a little bit slow going for 2022 because of the volatility in the market and some uncertainty that's out there. What's your outlook as we think about DeSPACs a little bit longer term?
Yeah, well, we've had 29 DeSPACs year to date, and that's well below the close to 200 DeSPAC that we saw in 2021. So again, we're behind that pace quite markedly. The competition for SPACs to find deals is definitely heating up. Right now, there are over 600 SPACs that are looking for a merger partner. We expect to see a slowdown in the pace of deal announcements. Especially as the market continues to see some volatility here. So again, not expecting the 200 DeSPACs that we saw last year, which also means that there's probably going to be more liquidations of SPACs, in 2022.
I'm glad you brought that up. What happens when a SPAC does liquidate? Do they have to go back to the drawing board again and come up with another, a new group of investors and a new timeline before they can start?
In short, they take that money that's left in the trust that's sitting in the bank account and they just give it back right to the shareholders. They liquidate the entire vehicle and you no longer, have this vehicle to go out and find a company with whom to merge. So again, I fully expect to see more liquidations this year as the competition for, companies and DeSPACs is increasing.
What are some exciting examples for DeSPACs? What stands out to you?
Yeah, some more recent DeSPACs, of course. We like to always, think about things in terms of, names that people may know. So Lucid Motors, which DeSPAC'd last summer, was a very, let's call it hyped deal when it was announced in the winter of 2021. And Lucid is an electric vehicle maker, more on the luxury side. So at some point maybe a competitor to Tesla. The other, couple of DeSPACs that, I'd like to talk about are K Energy. It's a renewable natural gas play, as well as IonQ, which is a recent DeSPAC focused on quantum computing.
And Matt, to wrap up here, give us an introduction to the DeSPAC Index.
So the DeSPAC Index is an index that is made up of 25 DeSPACs. It is equally weighted, so all with a 4% weight. It is rebalanced monthly. And one of the things that makes it unique is that it has very low overlap or zero overlap with larger indices. So you're getting exposure to these companies, 25 of the largest DeSPACs, and that rotates rebalances on a monthly basis. So there are always fresh companies coming into the index. And again, you're having very low overlap with, say, with a Russell 2000 index or something like the S&P 500. So it's really an interesting index to look at for companies that are really in growth mode right now.
All right. We appreciate the insight, Matt. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.